BEERRUN, beer run. BEERRUN, beer run. All we need is a 10 and a 5 or a car and a key and a sober driver. BEERRUN, beer run.
Hey guys, it's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to everybody. What are we looking at today? Well, I had two seasonals left in the refrigerator. First one is the Weyerbacher Winter Ale. I'm sure I'm screwing that up. This one says that it's 5.6%. And this one is out of Philadelphia. A PA brew. But not from PA Brew News. And this one is Wachusett Winter Ale. Does not give an alcohol percent, but what I thought was curious is I noticed up at the top it says Classic Scottish Ale. No spices needed, rich malty flavor. So even though this was one of those things where I guess you just can't look at the cover because it just makes me think this is going to be just packed full of spices and flavors. And speaking of that, New York Half-Ass Prepper had sent me a couple backup bottles of Ammagang's the Adoration, which is a serious Christmas ale. I happen to really like that one, but I drank one of them, and the other one got used for the glaze for the two hams that she's making. And I was very surprised because normally anytime she smells beer, it's like, I think including this, we're now up to two things that she's used beer in. I gave her some moose drool to make the last shepherd's pie, and she said that really, next time we do something like this, we need a really good, like a brown, something like that. Before that, she used the Southern Tier Porter, and that also turned out very well. But this one, she made up the glaze, which was the beer, brown sugar, a spicy mustard, and glazed the whole thing, and then cooked it on a high temp for like 15 minutes just to like get that sear on there, and then pulled it back out and then re-glazed everything. And she's like, oh my god, this was like the perfect beer. She was like smelling the bottle, and she goes, yeah, I know, I hate beer. I always can detect beer, no matter even if it's something like a wine cooler-ish thing that just tastes nothing but like pop. She's like, I can just tell the beer. She goes, I can detect the beer in this one, but all those spices and the nutmeg and the cinnamon, she goes, this is exactly what I was hoping for when I made the glaze. So I guess I'll have to give you an update tomorrow as to how it turned out. So let's on Christmas, hopefully, because it's actually fairly early right now, I can get this done. We haven't, in our house, the tradition is when we get back from Grandma's, we can open one present under the tree, and then the rest is yet to happen. And it still is yet to happen because we're waiting on Samantha. And of course, we can wait on Samantha for hours on end, but as soon as Sam gets up, she's going to want to do it like right now. So let's get to the brew. I'm going to start with I guess the unknown one. Anything that says Scottish Ale on it might not be bad, so kind of waiting on that one. And this one has not sure. I believe that's the look right there. And as a footnote, I will say that I believe both of what we're about to look at are from last year's vintage. Wow, there's some energy there. It lost no carbonation, waiting a year. Man, look at that. It's like root beer kind of. Okay, well, I'd say this one has carbonation, like turbocharged carbonation. We got one of Heffy's dates kind of head on there, full fist. Got the ale, kind of has some sweet notes to it, like the spices, maybe a little cinnamon in there. Not really noticing in the nutmeg. Okay. Well, there's carbonation. It's very, very light, both on the mouthfeel and kind of the overall flavors, but it has a like industrial plasticky Coca-Cola like aftertaste to it, like really heavy. You know, if you ever experiment with like sodas and like hey, what would happen if I mixed some Coca-Cola, some Dr. Pepper, and some orange together? That result in not so good is kind of like what this is. Actually, kind of tastes like more like wrong things were mixed together to equal even more wrong. As I discouraging look at the bottle and see that there's still a lot left. Yeah, I'm not. For something that has as watery and as light of a presence, the fact that that aftertaste is so heavy. Okay. I guess on the E scale, I would give this a 1. Moving on. And what have I said before? The code for a score of a 1 means I will finish it. If it gets a 0, I would dump it out. So it gets a 1, I'll drink it just because. Okay. Wachusett Winter Ale. Definitely a different world there. It has a nice, like deep amber color. Not totally clear. Pretty aggressively poured, and the result was half a finger ahead. So, not exactly a ton of carbonation going on in there. Not a lot of smell to it. What is there is almost like a like a sweet caramel. So, Merry Christmas on this one. A lot better than that one. Somewhat typical on a Scottish ale. Maybe just a little bit more of the and I don't know why, but it's what's coming to my brain. Kind of a almost like the spice flavor in it is kind of like yam, like a yam, which means One to Birdman would probably love this one. That carbonation feel is definitely on the light side, but after the barn burner back there, I mean, it's not doesn't taste flat, but it just doesn't have that rip your ass Coca-Cola thing going on like that guy. Maybe a little bit of a citrus up front, and that kind of goes away, leaves a little bit of a dry spot, almost a moment of sweetness, and then you're getting that, like I said, kind of like a subtle yam kind of a flavor, or like almost getting to the taste of like a roasted or a burnt pecan. It's not bad. I mean, it's smooth. It's unique. It's not. This one isn't. This one is definitely more mellow and smooth than some of the Scottish ales I've had, like stuff from Belhaven and some of those. I mean, I generally like those because they're pretty robust. This one is definitely a lot lighter. If you poured this in a glass and gave it to me, I would never categorize this as a winter ale. It just doesn't have any of the offerings that a lot like they would, have the nutmeg and the cinnamon, that kind of stuff, which is what they said, no spices necessary because it's a Scottish ale. So I'd say, as far as the style goes, it misses the mark if you're out looking for a winter, something seasonal. If you're looking for something closer to a Scottish ale, and you've had some and they were a little too heavy hitting, too bold, this one would probably be more to your liking. So on the E scale, it's not really anything, again, it's a year, so that might have played down on the flavors. I guess I went past final judgment on this until I say had a fresh one. But and this one give the alcohol percentage on it. This one does not. I would say that this guy was a 5.5. I'd say that this probably picks it up just a little bit, like low to mid 6s is my guess on this one. On the E scale, I'd probably throw this on as a 7 as it is. If those flavors were a little bit more pronounced and less subdued, might go like an 8 on it, but as it is, I'd stick with a 7. Up next. Why don't It's like more like, what should we look at now? Because everything in here looks pretty good. We got stuff from Paul at PA Brew News, and we have stuff from I know two of the three from Travis in there. That Young's Double Chocolate and the Oatmeal Stout are probably going to be exceptional. Just because it was up front. Let's do something from Paul at PA Brew News. Let's do Philadelphia's own Yards Brewing Company, their IPA. So let's take a look at that tomorrow. Nothing, I just again want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Okay, fine. Eat a little crow, back up. I would like to quickly address something, mainly because my friend was right when he is this like, I had made some comments addressing my viewpoint on global warming, and intermingled with I don't even know how many beers, and trying to be funny and getting sidetracked. Sometimes if I'm gonna blurt out something just ridiculous as like a shocker, I would normally back up and say, no, I'm just kidding, and this is my viewpoint. And I noticed that upon being asked to review my my comments, he was absolutely right. So just let me address this. The whole subject of global warming. First of all, I stand by things that I have said in the past. I personally believe that, for the most part, the actual claim of global warming is bullshit. I believe that, and science, so much of that, so much of the science that people like Al Gore got behind is turning out to have been fraudulent. How long has the planet been here? How long have we been keeping data? I mean, I personally believe it's a cycle. The Earth warms, the Earth cools. Are we influencing that? I honestly don't know. But I believe there's a big distinction between the myth of global warming and pollution, and the negative effects that can be put on that. The problem that I have is, yes, I believe in being a good steward. Okay, I don't burn tires, I don't throw styrofoam cups out the window, I recycle, mainly because it saves me money on garbage. The more shit I can get recycled, the more spot I have in the smaller garbage can. So a lot of me being a good steward is actually just trying to save on my own money, which, like you said, is an excellent point. If we're all worried about the financial part of the economy and what we're leaving our children, we also need to work on what we do to protect the environment for our future generations. 100% agree with you. Where I take a divide on that is who oversees that. I do not feel comfortable sounding like William Shatner. I do not want our government dictating what levels are what. I believe that as people, majority of us are going to do the right thing. Do you want the government saying where these emission standards are set? Because dickheads like Al Gore and douchebag Obama are going to set the bar high to get the end game that they want. Like with the issue with the lead and manufacturing of ammunition. People like that are going to use that scenario to get the end that they want, and probably in a lot of cases has absolutely nothing to do with the environment. Could give a shit. They would rather take our guns away than save a seal. I have said this for years, and people that know me have heard me say this. I laugh when people like the liberals go on and on about how we have to have the government watching our food, and like here in Minnesota. It's such bullshit in Minnesota. You could not go sell your goods. There's been raids and being shut down, and they threw perfectly good farm fresh food away because it didn't meet the government guidelines. Right now, if there is a catastrophe, and it was me and you guys, and we got together and formed our own community, do we need a government body telling us how to have good roads and clean water? No, we don't. We would want us and our children drinking safe food and drinking safe water. Don't need the government coming in and telling me how I need to do things. Yeah, is there people out there that would take advantage of that, and they're dumping sewage in the water and pumping mercury into the air? Hell yeah, I'll admit that shit happens. How do we control that? I don't know. And I'll be honest, that's a gray area because I don't want the government involved. I believe good people, good stewards, will do it on their own. So I just wanted to apologize to him. I never finished my thought on that, never backed up. Instead, it was just basically all shock and awe. And that's not how I feel. That's not who I am. And we need people that know more about this subject. I don't know. You made a comment about coral reefs being destroyed. Don't know anything about it. Which is why people that have that knowledge need to educate the other people. But how do we do it without government infringement? Because government doesn't know how to do just what needs to be done. It's all overkill. It's all about stealing our rights and our freedoms and limiting all of the stuff that our founding fathers fought and died for. And to that, yes, there's shit in there about women's rights and blah, blah, blah. But overall, our freedoms are being hacked away by our government, and it doesn't make a fucking difference if they're Democrats or liberals. They're them and we're us. And I'm sick of it. Until there's actually a true third party that believes in putting it back the way it was, it is going to continue to get worse until history repeats ourselves. We all march and there's a huge bloodbath and somebody walks away. Not necessarily the direction that I want, but like the typical saying, I would rather die on my feet with a gun in my hand as opposed to on my knees. And that's all that government wants. So that issue with the government goes across everything. The economy, the environment, and all of the above. And I don't know how we find a common line and make everything right. But I certainly don't want the government stepping in and saying, you can only make this much pollution. Or this much pollution. You're dropping barrels of radioactive material into the water. Yeah, that's a problem, and that's the kind of shit that needs to be taken care of. But taken care of on a local level, or people like me saying, hey, that's happened in my own area. There's barrels still to this moment in time dumped in Lake Superior that they say, yeah, we need to go out and figure out what they are, and as soon as that happens, it all becomes hush-hush, and we don't know what's in the barrel. So, that's it. That's my rant. Basically I wanted to finish my thought And probably after all the beer-related global warmings, I never did get to finish it. And yes, it's not my thoughts. It's not who I am. You know, I'm take care of my own stuff. I don't dump gasoline in the lawn and oil in the landfill. I take care of all that stuff. But again, I don't want the government telling me how to be a good person and setting caps and saying what has to be done and when it has to be done. Because government is nothing but a bunch of freedom-stealing losers. And on the pathway on, how could it be more obvious? But yes, my friend, you're 100% right. Why waste our time trying to save the economy for our children and our children's children if there isn't going to be air and water and a place for them to live? But how do we get there? That's what I want to know. How do we get there? And I don't want the government to tell me how we're going to get there, because they could give a shit about us. Just want to control us. How to make us from citizens to slaves. And I am never going to be a slave. Alright, enough of that. We will see you tomorrow, and we'll take a look at the Yards IPA. And I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope you are all getting an opportunity to spend time with friends, just like the conversation I'm having right now with both Pete and Jeremy, pre-dawn deaf. The stuff about family is more important than anything. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't need the calendar to give me one day of the year where I need to do something financially or present-wise nice for somebody else. I do that all I can. But in situations like this where we get the opportunity to get together as family, take advantage of it. Because trust me when I say none of us have a lock on our futures. And you can get a phone call informing you that your future is now all at stake. Not good. So, guys, thanks again for everybody that interacts and we get together over here, because it's a good time. Wish you all a Merry Christmas, and we will see you tomorrow.